Hello and welcome. I'm Psychic Medium Roberto, and I truly hope you're doing well today. A quick trigger warning announcement. We are dealing with true crime, and information may be sensitive to vulnerable ears. Disclaimer, all cases are treated as alleged until proven in a court of law. I'm going to be looking at the cold case of Tabitha Tuders, who went missing on April the 29th, 2003. Now, I will go through this chart. The main issue that I've been dealing with this chart, and it's taken quite a while to crack this nut. The problem for me is the narrative of the sequence of events, in my opinion, don't match the numbers that I'm seeing here. Now, the narrative is Tabitha. In fact, let me go to the time chart here. I did a bit of a time chart here. So on the top, you'll see the 29-11-2. So the 29th month is April at 5:30 this morning. At 5:30 in the morning, mom leaves for work, right? Or she's already left for work. In that range, she wakes up at 5, has to be at work at 5:30. Works in a canteen, right? Early bells for caterers. The father gets up at 7, or let's say leaves to go to work by 7. By this time, he would have woken up Tabitha to get ready to go to school. Then at 7:50, she then goes to the bus stop and to catch an 8 o'clock bus. Now, according to the narrative, according to the family narrative, she would have left the house at 7:50 because it would take her about 10 minutes to get to the bus. So that's the current narrative. She never makes it to the bus. Now, I'm just going to go to the main chart here. You'll note on April the 29th, there's that 29-11-2. I put a block around it. Now, before having marked the colors, made little triangles, circles, and so on, the first number that bothered me completely was the 29-11-2. Because to open your eyes on that day, in this context, and the context is Tabitha is missing, let's say, right? So on the day that she goes missing, as the sun is rising, we have a 29-11-2. If I had to use a metaphor, they woke up to a volcanic eruption. So when everyone was starting to wake up that morning, they already knew, in my opinion, there was a problem. Okay. So, and I'll just put a mini, let's say, psychic numerologist disclaimer. I've probably spent about 2 or 3 hours on this chart, meditating on this chart. And I kept getting the same outcome, and I kept on deleting in my head, so to speak. It can't be that. It can't be that. And I go again. and I go again. And then now I've just come back, having had a break and re-looking at the charts, and it's the same outcome. So that's why I started saying that the narrative given to the media or known in the media, in my opinion, doesn't match the sequence of events as I'm seeing it. All right. So let's just go on the presumption, and we will work backwards in this case. I felt I'm starting to get a sense of, is it forward where I find the clues, or is it the build-up? And in this case, it's the build-up. All right, so let's have a look at this. So I'm going to start on April the 29th. We're going to work backwards, and then I'm going to jump forward for the confirmation. So if we look on the so-called event day, we see that 29/11 to start in the day, right? So for me, that's already problematic in a crime situation as well. We have a problem. There's a murder, there's a death, there's a passing. And what compounds that effect for me is the 5, is the year that we're in, 2003. Coupled with dominant, or at least strong, male energy. Okay? Now we would say, based on the outcome known to the public, that makes sense, right? Because a man must have abducted her on the way to the bus. Now I've just gone to the time charts just so we keep a timing here as well, because I think that's important. So this is all from midnight to 6 a.m. Right? And when we get to 6 a.m. into the day, we have a 15-6, which is problematic in the context of a young girl who was 13 at the time, surrounded by dreadful, dreadful, dreadful numbers. And the 15-6 for me, and I'm just going to go back to the main chart here. On April the 29th, we have that 15-6, that blue arrow pointing there. I'm getting older family member, familiar male. So this the male is known to Tabitha. And this male obviously has deviant behavior, deviant intentions. It's the dirty old man number. Now, the objective as well, to just confirm what I kept on getting, is you'll note there's a lot of text around saying family, 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 because I had to prove it that way. The outcome 6, and in fact, I'm going to circle it now. It's already marked in red. The 15-6 with a 6 outcome is family, interior situation, not external. And I tested for external. 6 is the home, is the family. So this is why I'm not buying the story or the narrative. And what swayed me to continue down this path, because they ain't pretty, and it's not nice to discover these things, unfortunately. And it's just, some of these cases are just ridiculous. We have a bright young girl, and I'll do her profile a little bit down the line. But what amazing profile of numbers. She would have been up there with the minds and the brains and the intelligence, whether she went via education route, becoming a professor or whatever, or of that nature, or at that level of performance, whatever she chose to do, she would have been stand out in whatever she would have done, let's put it that way. And I believe she wants to be a singer, dancer. She definitely has the numbers for it, but we'll have a look there now. And my empath situation is a little high at the moment because such a disturbing story. Now, what concerns me, and of course we can all agree, yes, on work weeks, whenever there's work, there's a routine. We're all familiar with the routine, and we do the same thing every day, right? So at 5:30, Mom always must get to work. 7 o'clock, Dad must be at work or goes to work. And 50 minutes later, Tabitha must go walk to the bus. Everyone does their routine every day. And when I watched so what had happened was, when I did my first scan on this, then I watched a documentary, and this is where I get the times from. Now, what disturbs me about the situation is the parent says she left to go to the bus. Mom even says, if the first bus stop is empty, carry on walking. Don't stand alone. And just those two pieces of information just like were volcanic eruptions in my head. So how would they know she got up, got dressed, had breakfast, put a bag on her shoulders, and walked to the bus? Now, for clarity's sake, I don't know who else was in the house. I know she had 2 older brothers. The outcome is still the same for me, whether the brothers were in the house or out the house. The outcome is still the same for me. So whether they were in the house or not, the fact remains is I don't believe she walked out the house. And trust me, I try to look for alternative situations. Am I missing something? Am I misinterpreting something? But in my opinion, now when I came to that conclusion, I worked backwards. So what happened leading up to this point? Because like I said, as I started here, 29/11/2, to start your day with that number, the 29th of April, you're waking up to problems already. And by all accounts, not small problems either in this context, in this family situation. So when I start looking back, April 28, according to the parents again, that Tabitha had a brilliant day the day before. She had a lovely day. School was great. She even got a good certificate or good marks on a test to that nature. So reports to the media, no, she was perfect. It was a perfect day for her. She got a perfect grade. Nothing was wrong. However, you'll note I've got a red block there in April 28. And we've got a triangle of 5s. Big bullshit going on here. Big problems going on here. Massive 5s. Now, that is the equivalent of a young girl walking down the road and the volcanoes are going all around her. And her parents report, no, she walked down the road and it was a breeze. It was a lovely day. What a great day. But you had all these volcanic eruptions happening around her. Okay. So when the parents start saying everything was perfect, yet we're dealing a situation that's far from perfect. So you start picking up these cues in interviews. Same in the Madeleine Soto case. The time is coming, Mom. The time is coming, Mom. So in that red block, now let me just check if I actually did it on the... So in that red block, we've got a 37-10-1 with a 19-10-1-10-1 outcome. Oof, and I mentioned in my previous video that cases, well, the way it's working for me at the moment, each case I do is preparing me for the next case. And we've just come out of that whole Catherine situation. 37-10-1. We've got a collective knowledge here. There's a situation that's happened in the house. So you'll note there's a 14-5, slightly obscured by the triangle, beg your pardon. Let me see if I can just move it up a bit, actually. We've got that 14-5 on the scene. Will still influence the day. That is boys' issues, male issues, like approaching Tabitha, right? What I'm seeing here is we got an issue on the Monday evening. So from 6 p.m. onwards, so sunset, let's say, time is relative in a sense. But if we go on the solar, so sunset reveals a 37-10-1, 19-10-1. There's a collective decision again going on here. A decision for the greater good. And in this case, and at any level, the greater good is the family. The whole. So when that sun rises, we've got problems here, 29-11-2. It's chaos, it's uncertainty, it's laws have been broken. There's a problem here. It's a very serious problem, actually. And we've got all these 5s around, all the bullshitters talk nonsense, lies, the uglies coming out of humans, the nasty coming out of humans. I do also get a sense of, I must say, and I'm going to say it for balance purposes. And I'm just jumping there now quickly. April 30, we have that 34-7. I'm going to mark here in blue. Because although Tabitha has been around, so I must just share with you, I do ask for permission. Okay, I always ask for permission to look into the case. I don't believe in channeling. That I find for me would be disrespectful. For the purpose of this exercise, I'm obviously doing a video on YouTube. It's not for me to channel. I can connect with past loved ones in a crossover reading because there's intent and purpose. There's purpose. But I'm using my spirit guides and my intuition and numerology to figure out what's going on here. I don't want to lean on, people who have crossed over to serve my selfish needs. Do you know what I mean? So unless they do come through. And in this case, Tabitha has been around, Tabitha. But there was an agreement needed to be made. And the agreement is technically, she just reminded me, 34-7. That I do believe whatever happened in the household, there's a very good, strong possibility that it was an accidental death. And that was the agreement. So the crime comes in is when there's a cover-up. Whether it was negligence or intended, whatever the situation was. Of course, intended is different situation than accidental. There was a collective decision to go the way we know it as of today. That's what I'm saying. The numbers don't match for me. The narrative. And it reflected on April the 30th, 34-7. Accidental death covered up. All the parents, both parents are out the house. The child is out the house, so therefore it couldn't have happened in the house. But it definitely happened in the house. Of course, I believe there was an outburst, though. I must be honest, at 33, now I'm looking at it because I've been directed there. And you would notice I've obviously focused mainly so far on April 29 and the end of 28. We have that 3-0 with a 3 outcome. That is an outburst, feminine outburst. Feminine outburst of the adult nature, in my opinion. That there was an out of control moment. She's almost like hinting at me, it's enough. I also just want to point out something here. I had to, of course, what I'm saying has serious implications in that if the family is liable, I mean, then they've got to go to jail. But, how does one parent go to jail or both, and then there's other kids to take care of, or whatever the situation is? That decisions get made. And I had to find proof all around town, all along these dates, that that it was family. So, for example, on April the 28th, the 3-7 is a collective. The 3 more so is the collective, right? 10 is also the group. We got on April the 29th, the 15 with a 6 outcome, that is family. The 38, we have the collective again, the 3. Then I just did a test. I should actually, okay, you'll obviously see it in the time traveler version. There was a vigil held for her 10 years after the crime. I mean, it's currently 21 years since this happened, right? 21 years. Sorry, I can't spell. My brain is in a different mode. So there was a 10-year anniversary held on the same day. So, of course, for most part, we will get the exact identical reflection. But what I wanted to do was just draw out the numbers and just see if there's variations or hints of... I've just noticed something. I'm going to put... You'll note there's a string of 3s. I'm going to do a column quickly. Because the April 30, we're seeing a similar pattern there. Look at all the 3s. So a lot of control, keeping the story under control. Let's control the situation. We're going to devise a narrative which will not implicate us in a crime, because we left for work already. So how could it have been us? When we left work, she was sleeping by the foot of the bed, like she normally does. Okay. So everything was perfect. So what I was getting to is the triangle with the 6 in it's there. Family again. I'm just looking for reflections. Any hints? Like I say, I've been meditating on this. In fact, I probably looked at this chart over 3 different sessions, and in the second session is when I started seeing most of it. It just happens like that sometimes with cases where there's a lot of bullshit around. So you got all the 5s around. These 5s are deception, lies. In this case, can also mean like money laundering, bribery, corruption. But in this case, the narrative that we know or is being put out there in the fodder machine is a lie, in my opinion. And that's why I brought out the time charts, just to try to be a little bit more finite in when things took place. When did according to the narrative, what was the time in which things took place? This would actually be a good case for Val Evans to look at, because she can do timestamps. Yeah, she's been very strict with me. Like I say, I do ask for permission because there is energy involved. I'm going into a space. So I usually get permission first. So let's look at Tabitha's profile. I'm going to end off with the profile here. So to not just leave it hanging in the air, because it shouldn't feel like it, but to just sum up, there's a cover-up happening in the family. There's a cover-up happening in the family. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so February the 15th, 1990. And that also seals the deal there. You see the 1910 one pings directly on April the 28th. That evening pings directly on her. And that 1910 one, where it's positioned for her, the year that she's born, reflected with the 1910 one on April the 28th. This was a karmic event, in my opinion. And when you look at April the 30th and you see that 7, this is what I've been talking about in previous episodes, 7. What happens in, what's that saying from Gladiator? What you do here echoes in eternity. Good luck to them. They are going to pay the price. So I was just saying, her, I mean, of course, she's still young, 13, 14. But of course, people, or a lot of famous people, let's put it that way, had already decided when they were 6 years old what they want to do, and that's what they did. So performance art, she's got the 6, acting, the vision, 2, some emotion elements there, emotions, 8, the performer, and 2 crowds, 10, 1. But I would say she would go to the next level with that 18, 9. 18, 9 are lateral thinkers, inventors, high performance individuals. So she's got lovely numbers, would have done great in the industry. It's just unfortunate that we some don't get to fulfill their promise or potential, let's say. Now, you may have noticed the number 8. I believe Tabitha did give me that number at the very beginning of my sessions, the number 8. And it took me a while, I'll be honest. I found it in the shadow day, April 31. Now, of course, there's no April 31. But I pull out the numbers because the energy still reflective of what happened on April the 28th and April the 29th. And in fact, the number 8 is the reason why she made me. The number 8 is the reason why I started looking at this case from leading up to the event, was because of that 8. She gave me an 8 when I started. But the 8 is also reflective of there she is in the middle of all this disaster, these volcanic eruptions happening around her by family members. That's all I'm allowed to say. And that 8 pings directly on her in the day. And we'll note on April the 27th, the lead up here, we have an 1899 outcome. Also pinging directly on Tabitha. So the energies and movements around her getting into the red zone doesn't look good to me, is all I'm going to say. So, unfortunately, I don't believe this event happened outside of the house. I believe the event happened within the home of the family. And not nice. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I believe I've covered everything. Please leave your comments down below. I'd love to read your comments, engage with you, and I love the activity happening on the channel. Thank you for your support, and thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay alert, and I'll see you in the next one.